The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
It's been a while. I love her. She is, again, as the story of Barack Obama's life, again, takes more twists and turns, as the truth may be closer now than ever before, but we should only hope and wonder. Attorney Orly Tates is with us, and she's been with us, I don't know, this probably got 25 shows we've done together. Ms. Tates, good morning. Welcome back to Denver and to 710 KNUS, different radio station than the last time you were with us, but it's good to have you on. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
It is my
Always
pleasure.
a pleasure.
Thank you. The Social Security number that the President of the United States uses, who does that number initially belong to?
Well, there were several investigators that have traced that this number was assigned to somebody born in 1890. And investigator Albert Hendershot found the records that showed that the number was assigned to one Harrison or Harry, middle initial J, last name Bunnell, D as in boy, O, U, N as in L, as in Nancy, E, L, Harry J. Bunnell. And Barack Obama used this Social Security number actually for most of his life. And it's interesting that in connection to his house, where he lived in Chicago, he used not only Bunnell's Social Security number, he also used his last name. And we have records from Maryland's information systems showing, it's interesting, Harry Bunnell and close relative Michelle Obama, and then at the same address, Barack Obama with close relative Michelle Obama, of course.
Yeah.
And we also found the records from census, from 1940 census, showing that this gentleman lived in New York in 1940. We know that he came from Russia in 1912. And we know that he was just a poor man. He had only 3 years of education. We know that he worked for cash and apparently didn't need Social Security number until he was elderly and needed Social Security benefits. And at that time, in 1976, 1977, there were a number of laws passed and regulations by the Social Security Administration whereby in order to get any benefits, people had to have their own Social Security number. So a lot of people like Harry Bunnell, who worked all their lives for a relative for some cash, or elderly women who never had their Social Security number because they were housewives and they used their husband's social, applied. And so apparently either he applied or a person from who was assisting him applied. And then from 1980s, Barack Obama used the Social Security number. And it's interesting that investigator Neil Sankey, who is an elite Scotland Yard officer, found out that in his life, Barack Obama used a number of Social Security numbers, but but he never had any number from the state of Hawaii. He used from everywhere else, but not from the state of Hawaii. And I was thinking maybe because from what I recall in Hawaii, at least for many years, they had the driver's license being the same number Social Security. I might be mistaken, but that's what I remember. So that could have been the reason. But at any rate, he is shown to use different numbers, but never one from Hawaii.
The number itself, and we've talked about this so many times, the President of the United States uses an SSN number 042, and that's the state of Connecticut, because we went through this so many times. I mean, it got to the point where I would carry a list of state corresponding numbers, and people would call the radio show, and they would give me the first three numbers, and I would tell them where they were born. But it's 042, and that's Connecticut, 684425. Now, I am not a fan of Bill O'Reilly's, but you remember when O'Reilly, when asked, he said, well, because Barack Obama Sr. went to Harvard, that he got that Social Security number for his son. Well, Harvard's in Massachusetts. That was the opener. But the the President of the United States, and plus you can't go get one, SSN, Connecticut Social Security number 042684425. And it was used in Barack Obama's 2009 tax returns. That's pretty much. When's the first record you have, Orly, of the president using 042684425?
I believe it was in 1986. I believe that's the first record we have, sometimes in 1980s. And by the way, here is another reason why this number could not have been created by his father, because his father went to Harvard, I believe, in 1962, and this number was issued in 1977. So it was issued 16 years after his father left the United States.
I mean, Bill O'Reilly did the same thing when he said he saw the truth evidence, and then when he was pushed by a couple of people, it turns out his staff saw the evidence, and then pushed again, it was back to that birth announcement in the newspaper. So O'Reilly, who has played this dangerous game or this interesting game as well, but the President of the United States uses a Social Security number that was issued to Harrison, Harrison. They called him Harry. Last name Bounel. Bounel. Orly, to the best of our knowledge, where did he die?
Well, I believe he died shortly after the number was issued. And believe me, I didn't leave a stone unturned to try to find more records. I even placed ads in newspapers in the Bronx, New York, where he lived. I did searches at Yale Library in Connecticut. But, there's so many records, it's extremely hard to find. And I actually went to Social Security Administration in Connecticut where the number was issued. And an employee showed me that this number was blocked, that there was a note there that in order to get information, we had to go to a specific person within the Social Security Administration. So a lot is being blocked and scrubbed, and it's extremely hard to find. But what was a positive development for me is that, I don't know, either somebody within the Social Security Administration was trying to help me, or it was just a coincidence. But, I started writing about this issue back in 2009, nearly 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago. And in 2010, Social Security Administration passed a new law, a new regulation, which was a 120-year-old. We did not know about this regulation until it was published by the Social Security FOIA officer in 2011. And it stated that previously, in order to get a SS5 Social Security application, you have to provide either a consent from the person or a death certificate, proof of death. And of course, I could not get those records even though I searched for 4 or 5 years. Luckily, they changed the law, stating that Social Security applications called SS5 are considered to be ancient records. And individuals who were born 120 years ago or earlier are considered to be extremely aged individuals, and the public can get their SS5s, their applications to Social Security without providing either consent or proof of death or a death certificate. So there was one individual, and often what I do, I don't apply myself. Other people apply and see what response they get, and then I would respond. And there was a lady by name Leslie Bishop who applied and requested this SS5 for Harry Bunnell. And Social Security sent a letter to her admitting that they have his record, but they cannot release it due to consideration of privacy. They stated, well, Harry Bunnell's record cannot be released due to privacy considerations. So then I filed a request stating that they cannot use this as an excuse because here's the census record, and it shows that the person was born in 1890. So they have to provide it. They didn't respond at all. So I filed a lawsuit in June of last year. And after I filed the lawsuit, they responded stating that they could not find any records for Harry Bunnell, that probably he didn't apply for Social Security, at which time I submitted to the judge a letter that the same FOIA officer, Don Wiggins, sent to another person, Leslie Bishop, and which stated that they do have Bunnell's records, but they wouldn't release them due to privacy. So the judge was pretty much livid, and she issued an order. An order came sometime in December stating that plaintiff or litigants might be correct, that indeed the Social Security Administration did not do a proper search for the record, that they didn't explain specifically what did they search, where did they search, what databases, to show that some technicality did not influence their response. As a matter of fact, the judge went even further, saying, well, in 1940, this person was 50 years old, which means that he could have been born in 1889 or 1890. So the judge written a lengthy opinion, pretty much destroying the defense and denying their motion to dismiss the case. She also gave me an opportunity to file a new amended complaint, a second amended complaint, to bring new allegations, because the original complaint stated that they didn't respond, and since they already respond, she didn't want to dismiss the case as moot. So I filed a new complaint, and of course stated that not only they didn't respond originally, and then they didn't respond again when I submitted it in August, they didn't do a proper search because here are the records. And they responded, and I got the response just a day or two ago, and they pretty much admitted in their response that they did not search for the record that I requested.
Yeah, sure. They don't want to.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.